Hello everybody, Tashidalek, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to continue the biographies of Kargyud masters, as I explained before about the great master Gampopa, and from him again, for the first time splits Kargyud into Kargyud tradition into four major, let's say, 3 or 4 major chain of lineages. It continues. It's like a river, as I mentioned before. It's flowing, splitting more and more, for the benefit of all the sentient beings, and Gampopa had or got 4 main disciples, or in general, and as we used to say, 3 main disciples. We call it Kampa Misum, 3 Kampas, or 3 Kampas from Eastern Tibet. So these 3 Kampas are Barom Dharmawangchu and Pamo Drukpa Dorjigelpo Karmapa Tuzum Kempa, and Vengum Tsuldim Nyingpo. So actually there are 4 main disciples at the very first time of Gampopa, and these 3 Kampas are quite famous. However, there was an incident during his, Gampopa's late lifetime. Gampopa was, having his, time with the monks and monastery. He built up monastery in, Taglagampo. Taglagampo is the one place where he lived most of his time. And all these students gathered there, disciples gathered there, monks, nuns, lay people, official people, all came to see Gampopa. So Gampopa was quite famous because he was, that time he was the greatest, and he became Buddha. Actually, he could perform any miracles. He can fly, he can, he can vanish. He can create. When he lived in his room, he can become as big as the room or as small as one small pebble of stone. So that was the sign of a master who is the the last level, or 10th Bodhisattva stage. We call it 10th Bodhisattva stage. Who has reached that level, is then very how to say, somehow like almost Buddha, became Buddha. So so those 3 disciples actually were quite naughty, and they were, Kampas are actually strong and a little bit wild, and then they were, one time they were doing some bad things, like they were singing and they were drinking alcohol, and then they became a little bit drunk, and doing some bad things. They became, even monk, they became a little bit bad guys. So, and then the monitor, we call monitor of the discipline master of the monastery, caught them doing bad things, and then the discipline master of the monastery, how to say, kicked them out of the monastery. He told them, just leave now. You have no place for our monastery. Just go back to your home. You just get lost. he kicked them out, and somehow, Gampopa was meditating, and he knew that, suddenly he realized that something bad has happened, Then he summoned that discipline master and asked what happened to those three kampas. And then discipline master obviously, told him all the stories, and kicked them out. He said, I kicked them out. And then Gampopa was really shocked. Gampopa was really sad. And Gampopa was like, oh, no, you have really done a great mistake. These three kampas are not ordinary monks. These are the monks who can carry my message and teachings all over the Tibet. So he was quite old that time, Gampopa, even quite old, old age. He went with his stab, and he went outside and called upon those kampas, come back, you my son, you come back, you shouldn't go, you shouldn't leave, and so, and quite far, he went quite, he worked and then he shouted at them, and come back, my son. Then they heard his calling, and then they came back again to monastery and lived forever, or let's say lived until his master's demise. And so that was the story of these great three disciples. So Barom Dharmawangchu, Phamotrupa Doji Gyalbo, and Kamapa Tusum Khenpa. So from Barom Dharmawangchu, sprung the Barom Kargyud. Barom Kargyud was one of the Kargyud. The one of the, we say, one of the greater Kargyud, or big Kargyud. There are 4 big Kargyuds, and let's say small branches, or small 8 Kargyuds. Actually, it doesn't mean that big means that it's really big or something like that, and small doesn't mean that really it's a small or something like that. It just title, it's just a title, and how it priorly which existed had got name bigger, and the later splitting of the lineages got the name smaller. So that doesn't has to do with the greater or smaller, just a title. You have to understood in that way. So so 4 great or 4 larger or the root or larger Kargyuds are Barom Kargyud from Barom Dharmawangchu, and Phagdu Kargyud from Phamotrupa Doji Gyalbo, and then Kama Kargyud from Kamapa Tusum Khenpa, and then the last we call him how to say, Wangum Sultim Wangpo. Wangum Sultim Wangpo was the the fourth one, which really didn't done much, or he was actually the main, but his disciple Shang Selpa Chuntu Thakpa, one of his own main disciple carried out the Selpa Kargyud. So these 4 are the larger Kargyuds, or the pre-existed Kargyuds. Let's say 4 branches existed before the other 8 Kargyuds. So Barom Kargyud exists till today. Kama Kargyud also exists till today. Selpa Kargyud, it's gone, finished. There is no lineage holders and also Kargyud also almost vanished. I don't know, I have never heard that it even exists today, but the Barum Kargyud exists, but not so much widely, but there are lineage holders, Barum Rinpoche and all. And Gamapa is also existing till today, without doubt. So from there, then split for the third time, again, in the history of Tibet, 8 more branches or lineages of Kargyud. So interesting. So first stage, second stage, now we are at the third stage of development of Kargyud lineage. So here you see one of from those 4 main disciples of Gambupa, the greatest was the Phangmo Drukpa. So Phangmo Drukpa Doji Gyabo was the greatest. From him all those 8 smaller Kargyuds or later Kargyuds were splitted or sprung out, existed. So I will show you who was Phangmo Drukpa. Phangmo Drukpa, you can see here, is a bit here. This kind of painting is not looks like Tibetan painting. Indeed, this is a Tibetan painting from Kugye dynasty. If you go in the upper region of Tibet, there's a Kugye dynasty, now only ruins. One time at that golden time. So Buddhism was, or Tibetan Vajrayana Buddhism was quite spread there and flourished there. So you can see this is the master, in the middle, and then other deities surrounding him. So very nice picture, of him. I don't have any other pictures from him now, so I like this picture quite much. And as you can see, Dr. Doji Gyabo, one of the, or let's say the greatest disciple of Gambupa. So now we go through his biography, his personal biography, and here you can see, just I explained about the painting here, and his hand gestures, like this, like turning the wheel of Dharma gesture, we call it. And so he was in Tibet, existed around not around but exactly 1110 to 1170, late, or sorry, again, beginning of the 12th century, and beginning of 12th century to end of the 12th century. So almost 12th century he was existed, and he was born at the place called Sapkhang in eastern Tibet, in southern Kham. So in southern Kham, in eastern Tibet, which we call in Tibetan Kham, in Kham, southern Kham, or southern Kham, Tibet. So in Kham he studied under 16 different scholars, or Tibetan Buddhist scholars. He learned there. Really, he was born in just medium class family, let's say, or not so rich, and then he studied under those 16 Tibetan scholars, and then also he studied under many other great masters and scholars. in calm, and he had a great desire to go to Central Tibet for further studies, higher studies. So he traveled, by foot. That time no transportation, but he took all his luggage and how to say, foods and all the belongings. He became monk in Eastern Kham. He became really monk. Then he took all these luggages, leaving behind his family. He went to Central Tibet. In Central Tibet, he also received from, that period, there were many great scholars, In Central Tibet, he took all the initiations of Vajrayana and transmissions, and also explanations and pith instructions from those masters, mainly from the Sakya lineage master Sachin Kunganyingbo. He received Lamde tradition from Kunganyingbo. So he was, he had mastered also Lamde. He completed Lamde studies and practices. Just so nutshell, he he became a very scholar, and he mastered the whole teachings of Buddha. At very young age, he became really great master. And then he one day heard the name of Gampopa, and when he heard the fame and name of Gampopa, he really generated a great faith, or developed a great faith and homage towards Gampopa, Master Gampopa, and he decided to go to him and receive teachings from him. And then he went to the place called Thagla Gampo, and there he met Master Gampopa. As soon as he met for the first time his master, his mind developed a special inner peace, spiritual experience, and realizations of let's say Mahamudra or something like that, kind of a really blessing. He experienced for the very first time, kind of like a feeling of emptiness, something like that. All the world is falling apart, and only his pure mind was there, and so on. So that was the meeting of master and authentic students happens only when both are authentics. For us, like people like us, ordinary people, we don't experience such things. Maybe very very few of us can experience such things. So it was like that, and Gampopa knew that this very monk scholar can carry my teachings and teach my teachings further in Tibet, and he's the main he knew that he's the main disciple. He said also, for example, it's a quite interesting example. He said, if the hair of the horse tail, one hair of the horse tail, if we cut that into 500 pieces, and then only from only one piece left, how to say, in the in the quality, otherwise 499 absolutely I myself as Gampopa and my disciple Phangmotrupa, in the knowledge and in the realization, or in the how to say, mastering the practices, 99% same, become same. We have no any other differences. Now we are almost at the same level of realization, so anyone can follow him and trust him as an authentic master. So that was Gampopa's expression to his other disciples. So as the guidance of Master Gampopa, he built or established also monastery there. It's called Densa Thil. Densa Thil means the main seat of Hamutupa himself, monastery where he used to live the rest of his life. And from him, as I told you, from him now it branches, or it changes, or let's say it splits into 8 more Kargyud lineages. You see, very interesting, right? So how it split and how it goes further, and biographies, stories, I will tell you in the next video. So if you like it, comment my videos and express your questions or wishes, whatever. And thank you for watching my channel.